The bright morning sun filtered through the smoky air at New Delhi's bustling railway station. The sounds of vendors shouting, porters wheeling luggage, and train announcements echoed through the massive hall. The scent of spices mixed with the metallic tang of train tracks created a sensory overload that was both chaotic and exhilarating. "Hi, I'm Sophie," I thought to myself, adjusting the strap of my travel bag. A curious traveler on a journey across India. As a photographer, I was always searching for stories to capture. This trip promised a treasure trove of them. But there was one problem: communication. I didn't speak Hindi, and not everyone here spoke English. Still, I reminded myself language barriers were new to me. "Excuse me," I had learned, was a universal key that opened countless conversations around the world. I glanced at the large departure boards blinking in front of me. My train to Rajasthan was on schedule. With a deep breath, I made my way through the sea of passengers, dodging hurried commuters and enthusiastic vendors waving colorful scarves in my direction. A chai seller brushed past, balancing a tray of steaming cups. "Chai, chai, garam chai," he called. The aroma was tempting, but I resisted the urge to stop. There would be plenty of time for tea on the train. I tightened my grip on my bag and smiled to myself. This is going to be an adventure. The screech of metal wheels echoed through the station as my train rolled in. The long line of blue coaches gleamed under the sunlight, with passengers already peering through the open windows, eager for the journey to begin. I took a deep breath, savoring the mixture of excitement and nervousness that always came with stepping into the unknown. Gripping my ticket tightly, I walked along the platform until I found my carriage. The door creaked as I climbed aboard, the familiar scent of worn leather and faint spices filling the air inside. Rows of wooden benches stretched along the narrow aisle, and the faint hum of conversation created a warm buzz. Scanning the seats, my eyes landed on an elderly woman dressed in a bright orange sari. She sat near the window, her posture relaxed as she folded her hands neatly in her lap. I hesitated, then decided to ask. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" I asked with a smile. The woman looked up, her face breaking into a kind expression. "No, please sit," she replied, her accent soft but clear. Relieved, I settled into the seat beside her, placing my bag at my feet. The train jolted forward, wheels clanking rhythmically as it began to move. Outside, the crowded platform slowly blurred into a patchwork of colors. I glanced at the woman again, wondering if this might be the first of many conversations on this journey. The train settled into a steady rhythm, rocking gently as it sped through the outskirts of Delhi. Fields of green stretched endlessly on either side, occasionally interrupted by small villages where children waved enthusiastically at the passing train. I glanced over at the elderly woman beside me. Her serene demeanor contrasted with the bustling atmosphere of the train. She caught me looking and smiled warmly. "You travel alone?" she asked in simple but clear English. "Yes," I nodded. "I'm going to Rajasthan. And you?" "Jaipur," she replied, her eyes twinkling. "Visiting family." A comfortable silence settled between us until she reached into her cloth bag and pulled out a small, golden brown sphere. "Laddu," she said, offering it to me. "What is this?" I asked, intrigued by the sweet's rich aroma. "It's laddu, a traditional Indian sweet," she explained, "made with flour, sugar, and love." She chuckled softly at her own words. I took the laddu hesitantly, not wanting to refuse her generous gesture. "Thank you," I said, taking a small bite. The sweet melted in my mouth, its nutty flavor perfectly balanced with the hint of spices. "It's delicious," I exclaimed, surprised by how much I enjoyed it. The woman beamed. "You like it? Good." The simple exchange felt heartwarming, bridging the gap between two strangers despite language and cultural differences. As the train continued its journey, I couldn't help but reflect on how small acts of kindness often created the most memorable moments. Sharing a sweet with a stranger had become the highlight of my day so far. Turning back to her, I asked, "Do you travel by train often?" "Yes," she nodded. "Always a new story on the train." I smiled, realizing that she was right. This journey was already shaping up to be more than just a trip across India. It was a collection of stories waiting to unfold. The gentle sway of the train and the rhythmic clatter of the wheels created a soothing backdrop for my thoughts. I watched as endless fields and dusty villages blurred past the window, feeling grateful for the unexpected warmth of my interaction with the elderly woman. It was amazing how just a few simple phrases in English had bridged what could have been an awkward silence between strangers. Words like, "Excuse me, what is this?" and "It's delicious" had been all I needed to connect across cultural boundaries. Language didn't have to be complicated to be meaningful. That realization felt empowering. I reflected on how I could use these expressions in other everyday situations. At a restaurant, for example, asking the server, "What is this?" could lead to discovering new dishes. Complimenting a chef with a heartfelt "It's delicious" might spark a smile. Even the simple act of saying "excuse me" to politely get someone's attention could make conversation smoother, whether at a busy marketplace or while seeking directions in a foreign city. I turned to the woman beside me and thanked her again. "You are very kind," I said earnestly, hoping she understood my appreciation. She nodded with a smile. "Travel is about sharing," she said wisely. "You learn from people." Her words lingered in my mind. Indeed, every interaction was a lesson, not just in language but in life. As the train pressed forward, weaving through golden fields under a pale blue sky, I felt a renewed sense of confidence. This journey had already proven that even small, simple exchanges could create meaningful connections. Today I had learned more than just a few English expressions. I had learned how openness and curiosity could break barriers. Phrases like, "Excuse me, what is this?" and "It's delicious" were no longer just words, they were tools for connection. Before departing, I smiled warmly at the woman who had generously shared her sweets and conversation. "Thank you for everything," I said sincerely. She nodded with understanding, her voice gentle. "Happy journey." As the train continued its rhythmic journey across the vast Indian landscape, I knew this was only the beginning. Each conversation would be another step forward, not just in travel, but in personal growth. "Keep learning," I whispered to myself. "The world is waiting,